Everyone can take their seats. We will begin the fourth in the presidential lecture series featuring Congressman Nick Rahall. Before we begin, I would like to introduce some of our dignitaries, and let's begin with the congressional delegation. Of course, from West Virginia, we have Congressman Nick Rahall II, Chairman of the Committee on Natural Resources and the Vice Chairman of the Committee on Transportation and Infrastructure. We have South Carolina Congressman Henry Brown, ranking member of the Subcommittee on Insular Affairs, Oceans and Wildlife, and his wife, Billy Beaver. American Samoa Congressman Eni Faleo Mavaenga and his spouse, Hinanui Bainbridge Cave. U.S. Virgin Islands Congresswoman Donna Christensen, member of the Energy and Commerce and Natural Resources Committee and second vice chair of the Congressional Black Caucus, and she's visited us before here in the lecture hall. Guam Congresswoman Madeline Z. Bordallo, chairwoman of the Subcommittee on Insular Affairs, Oceans and Wildlife. CNMI Congressman Gregorio Sablon, the chairman of the Subcommittee on Asia, the Pacific, and the Global Environment. I'd also like to introduce the chairman of our Board of Regents, Mr. Sonny Atta. And Eliza Anderson, a member of our Board of Regents. And of course, our administration here at the University of Guam, we have Dr. Robert Underwood, President of the University of Guam. Dr. Helen Wicke, Senior Vice President, Academic and Student Affairs. Zenny Mace, who is the Acting Vice President of Administration and Finance. Dr. Elise Ralph, Assistant Vice President, Graduate Studies, Research and Sponsored Programs. I'd also like to introduce the Speaker of our legislature, the Honorable Judith T. Wanpat, Speaker. And also I'd like to welcome the Honorable Vince Tsai. He is the Director General of the Taipei Economic and Cultural Office. And Bruce Hung, the Director of the Taipei Economic and Cultural Office. We also welcome Rear Admiral Douglas Diesel, Commander, ComNav Marianas. And also joining us today are other members of our 30th Guam Legislature, and we welcome the Honorable Frank Uggan Jr., Senator. The Honorable Frank Blas Jr., Senator. The Honorable James Espaldon, Senator. And the Honorable Ben Pangilinan, Senator. Joining us also today, we have some of our, the Chief Judge from the U.S. District Court of Guam, the Honorable Francis Tagiko Gatewood. And Associate Justice from the Supreme Court of Guam, the Honorable Catherine Merriman, Associate Justice. We also welcome today members of our foundation board. We have former Governor Joseph F. Atta, who's a member of the University of Guam Endowment Foundation, and Francisco Caetano, a member of the University of Guam Endowment Foundation. And if he's still here in the room, there he is. We have the president of our Student Government Association, Ben Leon Guerrero. We also have members of some of our government agencies. We have Dr. Mary Okada, President of the Guam Community College, with us today. We have Anthony Atta, who's the Acting Director of the Department of Youth Affairs. We have Maria Connolly, who's the Director of the Department of Labor. And also joining us are former Senators Bob Klitsky and Joanne Brown. And without further ado, I would like to call up to the podium the 10th President of the University of Guam, Robert A. Underwood.
Thank you, Kathleen. I know it was an oversight, but I also want to introduce the Superintendent of the Guam Department of Before I introduce Congressman Rahall, I'd like to call up Madeline to just make a special acknowledgement and introduction of our joint intern.
Thank you very much, Dr. Underwood, and to all the distinguished guests who are here for this lecture series. A few months ago, we had the chairman of the Armed Services Committee, the Honorable Ike Skelton, who addressed you. And at the time, we had a bright idea that we would begin to have an exchange student from the University of Guam as an intern in my office. And we would pay the expenses all the way to Washington, D.C., where this student would intern with us for a few weeks, and then come and also work in the district office here. And so with the help of Dr. Underwood and a committee to select the student, we welcomed, and I think she's here today, and I'd like to introduce her, Alexandra Kenga Kerr. And I'm here today to tell you a little bit about Alexandra. She's a junior at the University of Guam and is majoring in English literature. She's an American Corps English tutor at the University of Guam's writing gym and a participant in the Green Army, a UOG organization dedicated to greening the campus and the island community. Alexandra hopes to pursue a career in addressing environmental issues and policies. She was our first UOG intern. She participated in the Liberation Day festivities in Washington, D.C. And she came at a very good time of the year. That is our busiest time. We put on a Liberation celebration every year in Washington, D.C. prior to the Liberation Festival here in Guam. This year we welcomed 1,200 guests. So it is the best party on the hill. She also had the opportunity to work in preparation for the congressional delegation meeting. She came back here to the district office and helped in the preparation for this 2.5-day visit. She hails from Dedido, and she's the daughter of Dr. Alexander Kerr and Jonita Kerr. So ladies and gentlemen, she is our first University of Guam intern, and I'm here today to announce, and I have spoken to Dr. Underwood already, that we're going to continue this practice. So I told her to begin looking for another very excellent student from the University of Guam who would like this opportunity. So we're going to welcome another student, and congratulations, Alexander, you were a wonderful selection. We enjoyed you. Thank you. Before I leave the podium, I have a few more duties here. We flew these flags over the Capitol in Washington, D.C. on Liberation Day. And I'd like to make a presentation to Dr. Robert Underwood of this.